you gonna be on my f***ing time?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Whiplash Effect. My name is Casey with my favorite video to put out every year, and that is the top 10 movies of 2015. So before I get started, we're going to be doing a couple of changes to the channel already. It's been like a month, but Will and I will both be putting out our own separate top 10 lists so we don't have to make one that's too long on Tuesday and Friday. Then we're all going to get together and talk about some of the best movie moments of 2015. So let's get this video started. For my list, I'm going to be doing any of the movies that got a wide release in the United States during 2015, not necessarily the Oscar movies, because some get released in 2016. I haven't gotten the chance to see all of them, and they could have come out in festivals in, say, 2013, 2014, but if they got a wide or limited release in 2015, they count for this list. My number 10 movie of 2015 is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. Now, this is a book that I actually read before seeing the movie. The book is really well written, it's hilarious, and so I did have some high expectations going into this movie, and it really delivered. It's a great adaptation of this book. The actors in it are really brilliant, and some of them hadn't really done anything or done nothing beforehand, and I thought they really stood out, especially the young ones that portrayed Earl and Greg and the dying girl. And this story doesn't glorify or sugarcoat anything, and I think that's really hard to put into a movie because you want to see characters succeed and you want to see them do really good things, and that doesn't always happen in this movie, but it's still really enjoyable. It doesn't stick strictly to the script of the book, which is totally fine. It still captures the tone of the book, which is what I really like when movies do. We're seeing something a little bit different, and ultimately it really, really worked on a film standpoint, and that's why I loved it. So Me and Earl and the Dying Girl is number 10. So my number 9 for this year is It Follows. It Follows is an indie horror movie that kind of came out of left field because I hadn't heard about it before it came out, and it's a really, really well done movie. It's nostalgic if you're a fan of those 80s horror movies, slasher flicks. This isn't a slasher flick, but it does kind of have that tone from those 80s movies. The score is one of the best parts of it. It sounds like an 80s horror movie. And ultimately, it's not really scary, but it's extremely suspenseful and very unsettling the entire movie, and all of the young actors do a great job portraying fear and disgust and confusion in this movie, and so ultimately, it's a great movie if you're in the mood for something that's thought-provoking and unsettling, and so that's why It Follows is number 9 on this list. Now we're at number 8. Number 8 is Kingsman: The Secret Service. This is another movie that I did have some high expectations for going into it because I'm a huge fan of Matthew Vaughn. I think he knocked out of the park with Kick-Ass and X-Men First Class, so this one I really wanted him to deliver, and he totally did. It's a crazy, over-the-top story with over-the-top effects and action sequences, and that's really cool. You don't always need realism in a movie, and this is one of those examples. It's fun, it's exciting, so that's why it's number 8 on this list. Now we're at number 7. My number 7 movie is Crimson Peak. I really enjoyed Crimson Peak. There are some horror fans out there that didn't, and I think ultimately that's because it's not really a horror movie. The director himself has explained it as a gothic romance, and that's definitely what it is. It's a beautiful movie. He built this house, this set, over a course of like 7 weeks, and it shows. It's beautiful. Tom Hiddleston and Jessica Chastain knocked out of the park. They're brilliant in their roles. They're extremely fleshed out. They have this way of being odd but still charming and kind of creepy, and so I really, really enjoyed that part of it, and that is why it is number 7 in 2015. And now for number 6, it might be a surprise to you guys that it's not higher on this list because I did already review it and I raved about it, and that is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I'm not going to say too much about Star Wars because I've already reviewed it, but ultimately it's just a really, really fun movie. I got to go see it a second time, and it still holds up with the plot and the characters, so it's not only good on a nostalgic Star Wars standpoint, but also on a film standpoint, so it's a really fun movie. I'm sure you've already checked it out because of how well it's doing at the box office, but go see it again. It's fun. It's really entertaining, and that is why it's number 6 in 2015. Now we're getting into the really fun movies of 2015, and so we're into my top 5, and my number 5 movie is Inside Out. I'm a huge fan of Pixar, so I was really excited about Inside Out, but I also didn't really know what to expect. I didn't think they gave away too much in the trailers, but it had an excellent voice cast, and then in the movie, the voice cast is still excellent. Even in some of the minor characters, they're really, really cool. And then it's just a fun movie throughout the entire time. Pixar delivers again. It's original, it's exciting, it's funny, it'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh, and it's a great movie for both kids and adults, and it's so much fun the entire time. In my opinion, it's up there with some of the Pixar greats, so you should definitely go check it out if you haven't, but that's why Inside Out is my number 5 movie of the year. So now we're at number 4. My number 4 movie of 2015 is Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max is such a well-done movie, from the acting, to the writing, to the cinematography, to all of the action shots. It's a beautiful movie. I'm a fan of action movies, but in the same front, I think a lot of them can be cliche and stereotypical with its characters and its sequences. Mad Max is the exact opposite. The characters stand out and are so in-depth by not saying a lot. I think Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy don't really say too much throughout the entire movie, but they nail it. It's such a simplistic story that it'd be hard to work into a movie. I thought before seeing it, it's basically just one big chase scene, but it works. It has heart, it has soul. It's an exciting movie, a beautiful movie, which I've already said multiple times, but that's why it's number 4 on this list. So last year in my top 3, they were movies that I thought were exciting and amazing, and they're all movies that I've gone back to, and I'm definitely going to go back and see these top 3 because they're just as good, if not better in my opinion. I really, really enjoyed them. So my number 3 for 2015 is called The Final Girls. So The Final Girls didn't even really get a wide release. It had a limited release at the box office the same day that it got released on demand, but I'm sure a lot of you haven't seen it. Definitely go see it, whether you're a horror fan or a comedy fan or an action fan. It has tons of heavy hitters as far as up-and-coming young stars. They've got Taissa Farmiga from American Horror Story, Nina Dobrev from The Vampire Diaries, a couple people from Workaholics and Silicon Valley. They're just all around got some really great comedic chops. It's basically a horror parody. It's not that scary. It's so over the top with some of the shots they use and some of the effects they use. They do some really cool things with effects that I was not expecting going into this movie. And ultimately, it has a really great message at the end and a really great storyline. So I think that's a movie you should definitely see if you haven't. I say this for all 10 of the movies, but this one in particular because I don't think a lot of people have seen it. So definitely try and go check it out. And that's why it's number 3 on this list. My number 1 and my number 2 are usually interchangeable. My number 1 edged this one by just a little bit, but for this year, number 2 is Dope. So I've mentioned a lot of high school movies this year with The Duff and Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and I think 2015 was a great year for some high school movies. They had some great teen dramas, teen comedies that really delivered, much more original than some of the other years. This one was by far the winner. Dope had an excellent cast, excellent direction. It told a story that we don't normally get to see on screen, some characters that we don't normally get to see on screen. The situations that they get themselves into are really difficult and really entertaining to see on screen. If you're a hip-hop fan, they've got some great up-and-coming hip-hop stars and some that have solidified themselves in hip-hop history. A$AP Rocky is probably the biggest one in this movie. Really, really delivers. I wasn't expecting him to be that good of an actor. He's really, really good in this role. One of the criticisms for this movie is that it's too preachy and it shoves some of its messages down your throat. And I really don't like when a movie does that. I think it takes away from the overall storyline. I really don't think this one did. It did say it, obviously. It didn't try to avoid the topic, but it also didn't make you feel guilty or shove it down your throat. I think it really worked. The message is great. All around a great movie, and that is why it's number 2 on the list. And finally, we've come to the crown jewel, my number 1 film of 2015, and that would be Ex Machina. Ex Machina just blew everything out of the water this year. It's such a simplistic story with basically 3 cast members. It's impactful, it's suspenseful, it's creepy at times, it's dramatic, and the storyline is so interesting to watch it play out. Oscar Isaac, Domhnall Gleeson, Alicia Vikander nail it in these roles. You don't know where the movie's going to go. It's got twists and turns. You're enthralled the entire time, engrossed in this story. It's mysterious. You don't know where it's going to go, and by far one of the best science fiction movies to come out in this century. I enjoyed it so much. It's such a great movie. Definitely go see it if you haven't. I think I've said definitely go see all of them, but it's a true statement. Do. All of these movies are amazing. This is my top 10 list for 2015. Tell me what you guys think. Did you enjoy it? Did you agree? Did you disagree? Put it in the comments. Tell me your top 10 list. Really want to hear it. I don't know if I'm posting this first or if Will's posting this first, so either I'm the second one or Will's going to be on Friday. stay tuned or go back and watch Will's video. If you haven't, I'll put a link right here. Thank you for checking this out. Thank you for checking out The Whiplash Effect. I forgot my closing thing. That's a wrap.